I've worked in a range of sectors and at a range of different levels. Started my career with Birmingham City Council in policy and development management. From there I moved on to University of Central England as a senior lecturer in planning law and practice. Then moved to work one of the regional development agencies where I became head of planning and transport. And from there I moved to the private sector and worked as an associate director with RTPI. From there, probably to my favourite job, which was national planner with the RTPI Planning Aid England. My current role is back in the private sector with the Pegasus Group, where I'm regional director. So with all that in mind, I've got a very wide understanding of planning issues from a range of different perspectives. I understand the challenges that are faced by planners working in those different sectors. And also, I've seen the difference that good planning can make from all sides to places and lives. But in addition to technical skills and knowledge that actually comes as a result of those roles, I also think that communication skills are really important, and that includes both verbal and written communication, whether it be one day I may be giving evidence at an inquiry, I may be doing something with select committee, might be speaking at conference, which I do quite regularly, or I might be facilitating stakeholder events with a very wide range of stakeholders there, might be working with parish councils or actually with individuals and local communities. But in addition to verbal and written communication, there is also the importance of listening and reflecting on what you've actually heard, and on, where necessary, actually debating with people and challenging. As planners, we look at evidence, we listen to views, we explore both of those to find consensus where possible. And then as planners, we take a decision. We know that we won't please everybody, that's just not possible. But if the process that we've followed is clear, it's open, it's transparent, it's positive and it's engaging, then most people will actually say, well, you've done it right and I accept the outcome, I was not in the majority. Having done this, and we've got as best a consensus as we can across the Institute, it is the collective voice of the Institute that then needs to be heard at the highest level. The Institute needs to continue to raise its public profile. We need to be seen and to be heard. And I see that very much as the role as a president of the RTPI, being the face of those discussions around the future of our place, being seen as the go-to organisation when the media wants a comment on something, and not just the few people who know about what we do, but actually taking it out so the many know what we do and what we think and some of the issues that actually concern us. So the RTPI President's role is about actually delivering that consensus of views, raising the volume, changing the conversation around planning and being seen and heard. Securing positive public engagement in planning is arguably the biggest challenge in stakeholder engagement. Currently, very few people get involved in planning, and then they only do that usually when a development is about to affect them. If you look at the figures, it's less than 0.5% of the population of an area, on average, that will comment on a local plan. It's higher for neighbourhood plans, which is much better. And around 3% of those directly notified of pre-application consultation will comment. But when you actually look at who's commenting, more than 70% on average of a typical consultation response profile are over 55 years in age. And that's not good enough. No other organisation that I am aware of out there would make changes to a design of a product or a service that they were offering based on a respondent profile like that. And as I said, we need to do better. We need to excite people. We need to interest people in planning. We need to change that conversation, as I've said earlier. We need to engage more people in thinking about the future of planning and their own futures and the future of society. We need to engage on things like how new technology will change lives and change places and spaces. That actually interests people. They're excited about it. But we equally need to make use of new technology when we're consulting. There's opportunities to create visualizations so people can actually properly consider what changes actually mean to them. I attended a recent exhibition and I thought it was very, very interesting. There were traditional exhibition boards down one side of the room, and on the other side there was some computer-aided visualizations on screens. And just on observation, I would have said about 80% of those who attended that exhibition went only to the computer side. They did not look at the traditional exhibition boards. 10% of the population are functionally illiterate. we need to actually try and reach out and make it such that we engage with everyone and everyone can understand what we're talking about. What did come out of that consultation was a buzz in that room. That buzz was like nothing I've seen at a traditional exhibition, and people came back bringing friends. That's what it's about. This is probably the hardest question. Everyone who knows me knows that I love the outdoors. They know that I love mountains and that I spend a lot of my spare time up in the mountains. I'm a UK mountain leader. I assess Duke of Edinburgh Gold expeditions and I take scouts up into the mountains, and I just love seeing their eyes opened and people enjoying the mountains and the spaces around. But I also love cities. I love the spaces and places in cities. I love the architecture. I love the vibrancy that you actually get in a city. So it's a really, really tough decision, but it's Hong Kong. And the reason for that is because the mountains come down into the city, and when you're heading off up into a trail, you're walking past amazing architecture, amazing places and spaces, and then suddenly you're just out in those mountains